The two girls you see in the photo here are Irma Miller, age 11, and Wilma Miller, age 7. Back in September of 2023, these two sisters were killed when their horse and buggy was hit on a Minnesota road by an SUV driven by either Sarah Beth Petersen or Samantha Petersen, twin sisters who have been accused of swapping identities so that one of the sisters could take the fall for the other. So we've got an update in this case, and that is that one of the sisters has pleaded guilty. That would be Sarah Beth Petersen. Okay, and she's the one that has been accused of trying to take the fall for her sister Samantha, who authorities believe was the one actually driving. Apparently, this is something that the sisters had a history of doing in previous altercations. So apparently that morning, right after the accident happened, Sarah Beth Petersen arrived on the scene and attempted to claim that she was the one actually driving. Now, why would she do such a thing? One of the reasons potentially was that Samantha Petersen was drug tested and was later found to have had 3 drugs in her system: methamphetamine, amphetamine, and marijuana. And from the law enforcement side, they have gathered evidence which suggests that she was the one actually driving in this case. So she apparently would have faced a lot of jail time, especially if she was found to have been driving with drugs in her system. And it was said that, and this is from fox9.com, someone who worked with one of the two twins told investigators they believe Sarah would take the fall for Samantha because Samantha took care of Sarah's children while Sarah was in prison, and now she feels like she needs to help Samantha. That was according to one person who apparently knew one or both of the twins. Like I said, a lot of the evidence that they have in this case, another quote from the article: deputies reviewed 911 calls from the crash. A call matching Samantha's number came in at 8:25 a.m. with charges noting the person on the phone was difficult to understand because she was emotional and upset. At one point during the call, she can be heard saying, "I didn't see them coming up over the hill." Investigators executed a search warrant at Samantha's home on September 26, 2023. Samantha turned her phone over to investigators, provided a blood sample. The results of the sample came back about a week later, showed the presence of methamphetamine, amphetamine, and delta-9 THC, whatever delta-9 is. A school social worker on September 27th, so this would have been 2 days after the crash, spoke with Sarah's 13-year-old daughter, who said, "My mom wasn't the one that was driving, and she drove to the scene of the crash after the crash." In addition to all that, Samantha had apparently told a co-worker that she had killed 2 Amish children while high on meth. There is also this bit, another quote from the article. Investigators reviewed searches on Samantha's phone and found she looked up, "What happens if you get in an accident with an Amish buggy and kill 2 people?" Another search was, "How to lock an iPhone cops have," and "If you hit a buggy and kill 2 people, are you going to prison?" and similar searches. So essentially, there's a lot of evidence in this case against, I guess, both of the sisters, and that might have been what motivated Sarah to go ahead and do a guilty plea. I should mention this follows the attempt of the sisters back in May of 2024 to try to have the crash charges dismissed. And they failed in that, so that's why we are where we are now. So one thing that people have been maybe upset about or maybe have had a strong reaction about is, what is the deal that Sarah Beth Petersen got? So essentially, quoting from the Minnesota Star Tribune, the plea agreement between the prosecution and the defense calls for Petersen to serve no more than 6 months in jail and be put on 4 years supervised probation. Now, again, she's not the one who's alleged to have hit the children. She's the one who tried to take the fall for her sister. So she's going to max out at no more than a half year in prison for that. What about Samantha? Well, Samantha is not apparently making any kind of a deal. She is scheduled to go to trial on July 14th, and she's charged with criminal vehicular homicide, criminal vehicular operation, driving under the influence of an illicit drug, and other lesser counts. So that's going to be a trial. All right. I don't know why there wasn't a deal in that case. Maybe one wasn't offered. I'm not sure about that. So this is coming to some sort of resolution here. Sarah Petersen did express a sort of remorse via her attorney, quoting, "Obviously, Sarah's heart goes out to the Millers." Her attorney, Daniel McIntosh, said shortly after the guilty pleas were entered, "She's a mother herself." So one other note on this: about a month after this accident happened in 2023, a local news station, KTTC, did an interview with the girl's father, Wilma Miller. Now, he doesn't appear on camera. You can only see his hands and you hear his voice, keeping with, the way a lot of Amish do things when they do deal with the media in those rare cases. And Menno was interviewed about this loss, and, among other things, he expressed a desire just to get a simple apology. That'd go a long ways, he said. Yes, it would. I haven't heard anything about him getting that apology. This expression of remorse through the attorney is the kind of the closest thing I've seen to that. Maybe that there's legal reasons why neither of these sisters would want to do that. I'm guessing it would be like an admission of guilt, or could be construed that way. In that interview, it's it's interesting, kind of reflecting on the Amish approach to these sorts of things. Menno had said that his family had actually tried to reach the sisters. Sisters had not apparently tried to contact them, at least at that point. Menno said that my father-in-law tried to contact Sarah Petersen, but we couldn't get through. Basically, what we were going to tell them is, hey, feel free to come out to the wake, the funeral, whatever. Let's just visit. But yeah, we couldn't get through. So, I mean, that's pretty powerful. That's seems to be pretty much in keeping with, the Amish way of doing things. It's a common Amish response, I think, in these sort of situations. Of course, immediately you think of the 2006 schoolhouse shootings that happened in Lancaster County, where they were pretty rapidly expressed forgiveness, to the, of the killer, to the killer's family. I'll link the interview to Menno. I mean, that's something I think is worth watching. Some other quotes from the interview. Do we blame somebody? Menno asks himself. Yes and no. I mean, we struggle with that. He said, a lot of tears. I was told tears are healing, and I believe that's true. There were 2 other children in the buggy at the time. Name of Rose and Alan. And they were reported to be okay, at least physically, and had gone back to school activities after the loss of their 2 sisters. Finally, just to leave you with a few words of Menno's, he said, when their time's here, their time's here. And again, that feels very Amish in that expression. He says, it all comes down to accepting. The parting is just so tough. There's going to be an update to this case. I'll try to get back on and give you some updates. A sad story. I mean, unfortunately, this is not the only accident where an Amish person, adult or child, has lost their life due to a crash. And some of those crashes are truly accidents. This one, we've already gotten a guilty plea from one half of the twin sisters, and we'll see what happens with the case that's here upcoming in a few months. So let me know what you think in the comments. I'll talk to you soon.